Our last confusion is when prepositions can be confused with subordinating conjunctions. So on the last set, I told you to maybe come up with some type of a code that you could use. So you'll see that up here I put a star next to to. It can also be used as an infinitive when we see it with a verb. Anything that's highlighted in aqua are words that often you'll see as adverbs, which means they'll be by themselves. They'll look like prepositions, but you won't be able to find a noun after them. And then this last set that we're going to talk about are common subordinating conjunctions, also called awubices. When you see them with a subject and a verb following them, they look almost like a sentence. They can also look like a prepositional phrase, but that verb is the key. And so again, looking at phrasing and how the words go together is going to be really important here. So, prepositional phrase. We're going to go back to our formula. A prepositional phrase is a group of words that starts with a preposition, ends with a noun or a pronoun, and has modifiers in the middle. And again, we call that job that the noun or the pronouns are doing as the object of a preposition. Well, a dependent clause can look a lot like a prepositional phrase. The difference is the word at the beginning isn't a preposition anymore. It's called a subordinating conjunction. It looks like a preposition, but since there's a subject and a verb after it, it's doing a different job. Okay, and so together that whole group of words is called a dependent clause. Something to note, the difference between a phrase and a clause. A phrase doesn't have both a subject and a verb, but a clause will, whether it's independent or dependent. A clause has both a subject and a verb. So some of our common subordinating conjunctions, these are the same ones that I have marked on the list on the previous page. So let's look at a sentence. After the game, we ate pizza. After the game looks like a prepositional phrase. I'm going to check it with my formula. Does it start with a preposition? Does it have a noun at the end? Game. Does it have modifiers in the middle describing the game? The game. So after the game is a prepositional phrase. Another thing we can do is get rid of that. Remember, if we can get rid of phrases and left with a complete sentence, then it's okay. We ate pizza is a complete thought. Now, by adding that phrase, we know when did we eat pizza? After the game. Very similar sentence here. After we left the field, we got pizza. Again, same main clause here, but let's get rid of that. After is at the beginning. And if I think of, I could end that phrase here with after we, but again, that phrasing doesn't make sense. To make some meaning out of this, it has to go all the way to field. After we left the field. So now that I know I see a verb in there, I want to see if I can find a subject and a verb. So we is the subject. What did we do? We left. And we do want to go to the end of that complete thought. Even though after we left satisfies this formula, it has the subordinating conjunction and the subject and the verb, it's really not the complete thought. After we left the field. We've talked a little bit too about when we put these groups of words at the beginning of a sentence, we put a comma after them because they're acting like transitions. So again, it's telling when did we get pizza? After we left the field. We want to go all the way to that comma, all the way to where that thought ends. So what I want you to do with infinitives, we put brackets around them. With prepositional phrases, we highlight them. When we find a subordinating conjunction, what I want you to do is draw a box around it. And we're probably going to start labeling them SC as we do our sentence diagrams. And then we label the subject and the verb. So we're going to do that up here. All of the words on here are ones that could be both prepositions and subordinating conjunctions. So in these first two sentences, they're very, very similar. The word that you identify there, you need to check that formula and make sure, does it have a subject and a verb after it, or just a noun with some modifiers? And when you're done with this, bring it up to me and I'll check it.